So before we built our fabric bucket, we had to do research. So we looked into self-healing waterproof fabrics that could withstand the changes of pH, temperature, and UV exposure. We also looked at the chemistry of waterproof clothing, which had latex coatings and multiple layers to trap in the water. Before we built our bucket, we also looked at the definitions of hydrophilic versus hydrophobic. So hydrophilic means that the material absorbs water and spreads out the water on the surface to maximize contact, while hydrophobic means the material repels water and forms droplets on the surface. We looked at the best waterproofing fabrics, and amongst the fabrics we used nylon for our first design and a cotton-based canvas for our final design. We looked at ways to waterproof materials on our own using readily available materials, and we decided on an iron-on laminate, and we decided that we would involve no sewing into our design to avoid water leaking out of the seams.
So some of our project constraints that we had to follow for this project was that the bucket had to be portable when filled with water. It had to fit into a 6x6-inch container and had to be foldable and compressible to fit in there. And it had to hang on a hook for a minute with at least a gallon of water. And it must be made out of 50% fibrous materials within the water containment area. And it also can't have any pre-waterproof or pre-laminated material. And to achieve this, we had some technical components that included having a canvas fabric because of its reliability and thickness. We also used a ribbon to cinch the top of the fabric together to prevent water from leaking out of the gaps. And we used straps made out of the same canvas material to wrap from the top to the bottom of the bucket to make a loop at the top where it would lay on the hook. And we also made sure that the bucket would hold a gallon of water before we started project by calculating the volume.
So our initial design included a purse-style bag with zippered side panels. To waterproof this, we ironed on a heat transfer vinyl laminate. Though our zippers claimed to be waterproof, they leaked in our initial testing session. So afterwards, we went right back to brainstorming and we came up with design number 2. This is a square of canvas with the same iron-on laminate and a series of small holes on the border where a ribbon is woven to cinch the canvas into a bucket form. This design was difficult to envision and estimate volume for, and we had to overcome a couple challenges related to seams, but this final design was successful.
The first major challenge we ran into when creating our bucket was our first design failure after testing. After water leaked out of the zippers, we chose to eliminate zippers and seams altogether by creating a cinched design. We also chose to only use the canvas fabric, but luckily the iron-on laminate that we used in our first design was successful, so we chose to use it for the second design as well. In the future, we would love to make our design look a little more polished. Although it was successful and it held water at FEDD day, our straps were not very practical for carrying this water for a long distance. So we would love to improve the bucket to make it more practical and comfortable for the intended user, which is an individual who lacks access to clean water. Ultimately, the goal of this project was to provide a solution for the individuals who must carry their clean water for miles, often multiple times a day. We would love to see an improved version of our design implemented in this real-world situation.
At the FEDD competition, our bucket proved successful. We placed 5th out of 10 groups in the afternoon session. We filled it past the required gallon with no leaks to a total mass of 5.84 kilograms. At this mass, our bucket failed due to issues with the straps, which were unattached. However, we met the given requirements and we were very happy about that.
So our advice for future first-year engineers would be work well with your team as best as possible, because that's really going to make a difference. Try to plan everything before like your first meeting. So like all your dates and your like timeline, like how you want to start this project, where you want to go with it. And also pick a day where everyone in the team can meet together. Like everyone's schedules are different, but if you can find one day and one time where you can meet once per week, that would be a good idea. And it's also a good idea to split up the task between everyone. So for me, I was an interior research like designer, and we also had an exterior research designer and a team manager and materials person. So that would be really helpful, just so that not one person's in charge of too many things. And also test your fabric bucket a couple of weeks before FEDD, just in case it fails. You might need to remodel it or start completely over.